Everyone, this is the Ayer Conservation Commission meeting. It is Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Look at that. Commissioners in attendance this evening. We have Jenemiah as member, George Bacon as member, Jessica Gino, member clerk, Mark Phillips, vice chair, Heather Hampson is our conservation agent, and myself, John Schmallenberger, as chair. Do we have a confirmation of agenda?
Yeah, I don't have any changes.
No changes? All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. The approval of the meeting minutes for December 12th, 2024. Any changes anyone has found? Nope. All good. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for December 12th, 2024 as written?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Public input. If there's anyone out in the audience there that has a comment or a question, someone who's not on the agenda, now's the time to speak up. Okay, seeing none, then we will move on. First item this evening is a proposed Eagle Scout project. Audrey Langley, benches at Pine Meadow Conservation Area. Could you join us up at the table, please? How are you this evening? Good. So this is your Eagle Scout project.
Yes.
That's great. Have a seat. You can have a seat. Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about your project?
So I was asked to build 3 benches at Pine Meadow Conservation Trail. I have maps of where
Oh, great. Love to see it.
they would be placed around.
Thank you.
That side?
Just take a picture. I made the map.
Okay.
They were based off of my older brother's. The benches I'm planning on making were based off my older brother's Eagle project because they're a nice design. So here's the top, and then I also have pictures of what the bottom looks like.
What are those?
That's I got a top. So this is just upside down.
Yes, that's the bottom. Yes.
Yeah. Pressure treated. Yep.
They've been down at Frone Park, that camping area, for a while now. I don't know exactly when, but they've been down there for a while.
I like your locations. I know those locations really well.
It's nice. It's a nice view areas of the pond.
Yeah. Yep.
In the springtime, apparently you can see like a lot of animals in their nests.
Definitely.
I have the instructions for the bench if you want to look at them. Pass them around and look at them.
Sure.
Pictures of
I like looking. I'm guessing they're going to be pretty heavy
We're gonna build them at the locations.
on site.
Yes, we're gonna build them on site. They're gonna be pre-assembled. They're gonna be pre-assembled and then taken apart, so we can label where the holes are.
Yep.
And all that. They're gonna be pre-stained. They're gonna be pressure treated. They're gonna be all that stuff to make it so that they last a long time down at the trail.
That's great. It'll be a nice addition to the, this area. Yeah. I don't know if you know that Habitat Loop Trail, the one that goes up the hill, sort of if you go past this guy here. more towards, and you go way up the hill, there's a nice area up there too, but
I haven't walked I've walked the trail to look at the locations of where the benches
yeah,
would want it to be put. I've never hiked it really. It seems like a nice hike too.
yeah, it's really nice.
I brought her out to take a look at the areas a couple months ago.
Yep.
It was fall, all the leaves were down, so trying to find the trail to go up the habitat
Oh,
would
yeah.
have been a little,
Slippery, too.
it was tricky trying to get out to the lookout point. So to make it up there was going to be probably a little more, because it's pretty rocky, and the rocks were all hidden by leaves.
Sure.
Well, if you're in fit enough shape to make it to the top, you don't need no bench. Just those little places.
When do you plan on doing this?
Like the Thursday of April vacation, I think.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Like during April vacation, because Thursday is one of the times when some of my family members who want to help out are free. So I plan on kind of starting it there.
Sure.
So I could have a bit of help out from family who are good with woodwork and stuff.
Sounds like a good idea.
Definitely.
Any commissioners have questions?
I do
It's great.
Just to say
Yeah.
thanks.
No, I think we're all very excited that you're doing this, and I want to thank you for doing it too.
I'm excited myself.
Good.
I didn't know what my Eagle project would be at first, and then when I heard of, because I've been doing pocket forest with Beth.
Sudemeyer? Mm-hmm.
I've been doing the pocket forest, and it's really fun.
Yeah, it is fun. All righty, do we have to vote on this, or?
I don't think it hurts to, but I mean, you can vote to support it.
Okay. Is there a motion to support the project, the Eagle Scout project? Audrey Langlais, consists of benches, 3 benches in Pine Meadow Conservation Area.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Have at it. Thank you so much.
This is for you, Heather.
Thank you.
No.
And Heather, on the issue of repairing the board on the
Yes.
dam at Long Pond.
Yes. I mentioned it to Eagle father. Yeah, and they were going to mention it to a group too, but after going forward, something we need to really take care of. Yep. Yes. But I did mention it.
I just need the tabs. Right
Signatures from myself or from someone on the board?
there. Yourself. I
So
think.
it would be the project sponsor, whoever she's gonna be working with that approved the whole thing is gonna be okay.
That would be me. Oh my. Wow, that's official. Oh my goodness.
You sure have a lot of badges there.
Yeah, you do.
I didn't get to sew 2 on. The 2 I didn't get to sew on were photography and fingerprinting. So I just gotta sew those on
No, photography using smartphones or
camera.
real film?
Nice.
With real film? Old-fashioned way.
There we go. Thank you.
Thanks for coming to see us.
It's my pleasure.
All righty, our next item this evening is public hearing notice of intent, DEP file number to be determined.
And we actually have the number. I apologize. It's 0496.
0 what?
0496 100-0496.
Okie dokie.
I think I drafted the agenda and then we got it and I forgot to change that part.
We'll open this notice of intent under the Wetlands Protection Act and also underneath the Air Wetlands Bylaw. And Matt, you are going to join us this evening?
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Same to you. Good evening.
Want to run us through this a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Matt Hearn. I'm the town engineer, so representing Public Works for this project. So the project is called Bly Street Drain Improvements. So it's specifically the portion of Bly Street between Forest Street and I think it's number 34 Bly Street, but it's right where Prony Park ends. The property ends. It's like a gravel driveway.
Yep.
So really the purpose of the project is to correct some drainage deficiencies and also to replace some aging infrastructure. So if you've ever driven over the road, it's in pretty bad shape. So before we pave our roads, we like to make sure everything under the road is in good order. So we are looking to pave Bly Street in the next year or two, hopefully, fingers crossed, but this is one of the projects we'd like to do first.
Looks like it needs it.
Yeah. So just a couple pictures here. So these two here are at the Randolph and Baldwin driveway. So there's a big sag in the road that just allows water to pond across the width of the road. And we don't have any drainage structures on that part of Bly Street. So part of the project, we'd actually put in drainage inlets to help take care of that puddling problem. So this area is also still along the Randolph and Baldwin property, but you can see the drainage does run eventually down into this wetland area on the bottom. So this wetland area south of the road, so that is the area that'd be impacted by the project.
Don't mind me, I'm trying to find where the plans are.
So one of the weird parts of this project is that there is some drainage structures on the road, but it actually goes onto private property. We don't even have a drain easement for that drainage infrastructure. And the picture on the bottom is on what was the old tannery property. And I believe Brighter Horizons is the property owner now. So the street drainage actually goes onto private property, and we don't know where it discharges to. I think it's ancient drainage infrastructure that hasn't been maintained over the years. We did try to find it. We tried to camera the pipe, clean the pipe, and we couldn't really get anywhere. So now we're trying to put the drainage back on the road where it's supposed to go, so we can maintain it for future.
You say that was an old tannery?
Yeah, the old
Yeah.
tannery.
Is there a concern
With the land itself, with the yeah, that's another reason why we don't want to do any work on there. But I do know, like I said, Brighter Horizons bought the property, so I believe they have some intention of doing some improvements
Yeah,
there.
that'll be coming before the planning board at some point.
Was that the tannery property where there was the big fire?
Yes.
Many decades ago.
So this plan here is a sketch showing where the drain, the new drain piping would go. So that's the green line you see there. So it would go from Forest Street basically up to the very edge of the Randolph and Baldwin property, where the wetland area begins. So you can see the wetland is in red on the very bottom right. So we do have some flagging out there that was picked up on this survey.
So that exits onto the wetland?
Yeah.
It does. So it actually goes right into the edge of the bordering vegetated wetland area. So we tried to avoid that with the design, but it didn't really work out with how close the road is to the wetland. We had to go into it a little bit just to make sure the pipe had enough dirt over it, because otherwise it would really be a few inches of soil over it, which isn't really good practice for drain piping. So the impacts of this project, so Heather, I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, right there.
Because it's delayed on there.
Yeah,
Here.
perfect.
Okay.
So right at the end of that green line is where the drain line would outlet. So that's right at the edge of the wetlands. So usually for drain infrastructure, we try to put riprap at the outlet just for erosion control. So that whole area there inside of the wetland is the impact from the project. So that's why I submitted the notice of intent. So it's not a huge area, but it's really one of those situations where we really couldn't avoid it with the design. So it's some pretty minor impacts. And
Are there gonna be any separators or in the line before it gets to the?
yes, do you mind panning a little bit to the left?
Yeah, sure. Don't mind, I'm just learning how to do this still.
So right there where it says in front of number 22, yes. So that's a water quality structure. So we call it like a hydrodynamic separator. So that helps filter out some of the suspended solids and trash that end up in stormwater, as well as some of the oils. So we usually try to do green infrastructure, so like fire retention basins or detention basins, but there just isn't the area here to do that. So that's why we have a water quality structure on the line.
Would all of the water that's gonna go down that pipe, that would all end up in the wetlands
Yes.
eventually anyway?
Yes.
Yeah.
So right now it just pools in that low point until it builds up and flows down.
Yep. So it's controlled more and cleaner.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's one other spot, Heather, on the next sheet.
Next sheet. All right, let's zoom out. Ooh, sorry.
So this whole area here is really a deficient drainage situation. But on the next sheet, this is, yeah, if you can zoom in a little bit. So that green line is a small drainage culvert replacement. Yeah, so while we were looking at the other part of the project, we noticed this culvert here was in pretty bad shape. It's a corrugated metal culvert that's corroded pretty badly, so it's really on its last legs. So we're proposing to replace that culvert in the same spot with a slightly bigger pipe, and also riprap on both sides at the entrance and the outlet of the culvert. And also here we couldn't really avoid the wetland area because it is so close to the road. It just wasn't really possible to not work inside of it.
Anything else?
Obviously, you have erosion controls. So the orange you see there is like a silt fence and a silt sock. So we'd obviously have that for the whole run of the wetlands inside the project.
And you would go out and inspect all that, Heather? In advance and during? Questions?
There've been beaver flooding issues along Bly Street in this area, right? Does this address that?
It doesn't. Yeah, so we have a dam at Grove Pond. I know last spring it got pretty plugged up and actually backed up onto this street. So that really is the biggest source of any sort of flooding on this street is usually But the street, Bly Street, I think is, not all of it, but a good portion of it is actually in the 100-year flood anyway. So it's just a low-lying area.
Yeah.
So even if the dam is in good shape and it's not plugged up, it can still back up, just being where it is.
Sure.
But no, this project won't, unfortunately, help out with that.
Questions, George?
No.
Mark?
I'll pass for the moment.
How about you, Heather?
I'm just reading through the DEP comments, which I'm sure you got. So I
did.
just didn't know if you had any chance to address any of those in regards to, I think, more or less the last two.
Could you,
Or three, the last three. The first two really aren't.
could you
So
state those
the
for,
yeah, so the first comment was in regards to the fact that it was filed for a limited project. DEP made a comment saying it didn't appear to be a limited project, which I disagree. It is a limited project. It's because a limited project is for maintenance, repair, or improvements, which that's exactly what this is. It's an improvement of an existing drainage system. So I don't think that really counts.
So they were kind of half correct because I checked off the wrong box. So I checked off the box for improvements to dams and
okay.
in reservoirs, and there's another box for just street drainage
Okay.
improvements.
Gotcha.
Oh, and then there was a question in the fact that the commission should verify if there's any way to avoid the impacts to the wetlands, which I don't think there is a way to avoid that. And then a request to, for protecting with the culvert replacement, to look for impacts to that for the BVW. But it's an existing system, and we're expanding the culvert, which actually will help water flow on there. But that might be something we could look at out on site if we wanted to. The third comment was regards to temporary and permanent BVW alterations. Should be more specified. What's temporary, what's permanent.
So I counted permanent as the head wall and the riprap.
Yep.
And everything, kind of like the work area would be, that's not the permanent, like riprap and head wall would be temporary, that we restore back to original condition.
And then the fourth comment is in regards to the commission should be basically looking at the bank alterations and putting a condition on for making sure that the certificate of compliance isn't issued until at least 75% of the replanting the vegetation has come back, which is typically what we do anyway. And then the last one is in regards to a O&M plan, because the area is in the critical area subject to stormwater. So I would assume that the DPW would be doing their O&M plan.
Yes, we would create one just specifically for this
one.
project.
Yeah, so that's just something we would put in the conditions to make sure we have a copy of. I don't think that their comments are overly stringent. It's just a matter of making sure that they get addressed.
Sure. Yeah. No big red flags there.
No.
Getting
Not
back to
with
you?
DPW.
Getting back to you?
Jen, anything? Jess? No? Just a quick question.
Sure.
The north side of Bly, the wetlands flag A1110, what is that line representing exactly?
That, I believe, is also bordering vegetated wetlands north of the road, which I was surprised by. That was flagged by our consultant. But that's not shown on like the DEP maps, at least that I've seen. But it was flagged, so I did count that in the permit in terms of impact area.
Yeah, it's just it's just drawn somewhat oddly, right? So the 100-foot buffer is essentially paralleling the lower, the south side of Bly, but
Right.
yet there's that line going across there, which, like I said, kind of puzzled me there. is it actually wetland or not. With regards to the culvert, you said you're gonna increase the size of it, increase the flow. Is there currently flow coming from the north to the south side of Bly Street in general?
Only when it rains, so it's not a perennial stream or anything like that. It's
It's not connected to anything else.
no,
That's one thing I
So
didn't
by
look at.
increasing the culvert size and such, you're not going to resulting have flow go from the south side to the north side, will you? And
exactly.
it will or not?
It won't.
Okay. Because you got a house sitting right there, that's kind of be a challenge, so. With regard to the culvert, is there the potential for shifting the outlet just outside the actual wetland and maybe put it inside the 50-foot buffer, let's say?
Okay.
Oh, so moving it over to this side?
To the east a bit, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's
I mean, I know it's probably easier, it's already there, scrape it out, put in,
Right.
take the old one out and pop it in, but I'm just curious. Or for that matter, even just moving it down the road altogether.
I think you're right. It could be moved ever so slightly to the right.
Just so it wasn't a direct dump into the wetland and,
Right.
you know, and maybe enhance the riprap a bit and or do something else to kind of divert the flow a little bit more so it has time to percolate through other things, hopefully.
So I didn't really think about it that hard in terms. I just kind of
To the straight line?
yeah. But you're right. That would I guess maybe not completely eliminate the wetland impact, but it would. I guess I think it would lessen it. So I can look into that.
And then what's the distance roughly from where that culvert sits to the other end where you're, again, dumping directly into the wetland?
I think that's. I don't know off the top of my head. It might be like a couple 100 feet. And I don't have that. Like.
Is that a plan? Is that a sheet in here? No, that's gonna be all.
But if you go to the. Oh, sorry, Heather.
No, it's me. I guess I'm not great with. I need a mouse.
That aerial photo on.
This on that this.
Yeah.
That right there. Okay.
We can zoom into that.
Let's try to zoom into that. Again, I hate a touch screen. There we go. So the first one is sheet 3. That one is sheet 4.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
to
gonna
Google.
estimate maybe 300
Go
feet
to-
or so.
That's what I was thinking. 300, 400 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, one was on one sheet, one was on the other.
When are you hoping to start?
We're hoping to get this bid out this winter so we can have spring construction. So we don't open up the roads for construction until April 1st. So ideally it would be start of the spring, but just knowing how slow it takes to get a project started, it could be, late spring or early summer.
Yep. Did you have anything else, Mark?
The property line's all the way there, okay. I was just checking on the property on the south side of Bly, but yet to the west of this outfall.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we owned that or not, but obviously we don't, okay.
We don't. That's Randolph and Baldwin.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, like I said, in my mind, I was entertaining the idea of not dumping in there, but yet extending the line 300 to 400 feet down the road and trying to, again, dump somewhat outside the wetland in total. which I realize would be fairly costly.
I looked into that, and I think the issue was just the grades of the road. Since it's so flat, it just wouldn't work. So where it would dump out would be really like below the normal, like grade of the wetland.
The wetland, okay, all right.
It just wouldn't work.
Yeah,
If it was
I was trying to check elevations, and it doesn't look like you said like there's much. I see like 222 to, 220, 219 at the most, and then like you said, the current outfall on the culvert looks like it's about 217. So you don't have a lot of.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But I agree with you. We would ideally do it that way. Just have one outlet point and have it outside of the wetland area, but it just isn't feasible with grades.
Okay. All right. I'm good, John. Thank you.
Oh, want to go out there and take a peek? I know I do.
Yeah.
That would be a yes then.
So can we set something up for a site walk?
Sure. When are you thinking?
Sooner the better, I think, as far as weather.
Sure.
Saturday.
Saturday?
Saturday's showing about a 60% chance of snow in the morning.
What time?
For air or for Massachusetts?
For air, thank you.
It's just snow showers though, I thought.
From 8 to
Flurries.
11.
It's just supposed to be snow
Oh,
showers.
So
Yeah,
7:30.
it's not a lot.
Yeah, we can beat that.
7:30.
I want us to make an informed decision, that's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Well, if we
I'm
start
good
at 8,
anytime.
yeah, if we start at 8, the 40% chance will have only started, so there'll only be about 1% of the actual snow that actually
Yeah.
happens.
It'll be pretty.
Yeah.
Will that work for you, Matt?
8 a.m.
That works. Yeah.
8 a.m. Saturday?
Perfect.
Everybody else?
Sure.
I'm tough.
It's a good reason to get up. Great.
All right.
We'll see you on Saturday morning. 8 a.m.
Perfect.
Where are we gonna meet?
And yeah,
otherwise?
where are we going to meet?
Oh, but you also should check to see if anybody in the
Okay.
audience wants to
Yep.
say anything.
Why don't we go to the,
Well,
can we pull in the driveway there by the ball fields, basically? Isn't there like a roadway or access or something, I thought?
By Peroni.
Oh, Peroni Park and then walk all the way down?
Right.
Yeah. That'd be
Oh, yeah.
pretty, Jen said.
Yeah. And you can look at the bench that's there that's gonna be at,
That'd be even nice too. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Is there anyone else out there who has an interest in this project and would like to make a comment or, yes?
We're the Radwanskis. We live at 34.5 Fly Street. So that's right near the property where you're talking about replacing the culvert.
Yep.
Okay.
We have, except for last year, because there wasn't much rain, thankfully, our ditch has been full of water for the past 2 years. And it wasn't, yes, we knew we're told of an active beaver issue with the dams or what have you. But the culvert was constantly clogged. And the other side was full of, they had the DPW come down, take out some of the foliage. The culvert's almost broken and collapsed on itself. And on the other side there, what you see, that's wooded area, basically. So on the top of that drains down from Grove.
Mhm.
So when it does rain, you have water that comes down from Grove into there, and then you have water from our yard, because our land is kind of sloped as well, draining in, but it really wasn't draining. Nothing was draining. It was all getting kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So we literally, I think 2 winters ago, once the spring came, we had frogs that had kind of tried to winter over in our culverts because we had so much water and we were constantly having to put mosquito dunks and stuff in our.
Mhm.
So we very much want to have the drainage improved, the culvert replaced. Obviously, we're aware that the wetlands are there, and our house was built in 2000, I think, finished in 2003. So we're not as old as the other properties, obviously. So there's the impact there as well. But I guess for us, like even the road improvement, like repaving that area, getting better drainage, anything that can improve us there is beneficial.
Okay. And everything that you're proposing would take care of those issues.
It would definitely help. It's definitely not going to hurt it.
Sure.
But that's exactly the drainage condition. Actually comes from Grove Street There's actually drains on Grove Street, but it dumps out into wooded area and it runs cross-country into that culvert. I know your property has like a drainage ditch along the front, and I think your neighbor has a drainage ditch as well, and that also goes.
Is there anything else?
No,
No? Did you get their names, Jess?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for your comments. Ruth?
Is that drainage wetlands, is that town-owned property, or is that?
It
Yeah,
is.
Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure.
Anything else? Ruth? Anyone else have a concern or comment, question?
Like for it to get done.
Like for it to get
Can't
done.
even use my dumpster half the time.
And where's your property?
22 Blythe Street,
22. Okay.
20 and 22.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the dumpster in between. You need waiters to bring your trash out.
Really, it's that deep?
Yeah, people are walking through the driveways, cut across the front yards, you know,
Yeah,
when they're out trying to walk their dogs.
right.
And I usually wind up with a foot of water in my basement for a good eight months out of the year.
Wow.
It's a dirt cellar, I just leave it, bring it, don't use it anyways.
Yep.
You know? But in case you gotta get down there to do something, you are stuck in water again.
Sure. Well, again, I think whatever you're gonna do is gonna help.
It's going to help. I mean,
It's not gonna eliminate it, given the location and,
exactly. It's in the 100-year flood zone, so that can't be changed. But this helps all the issues with the road and with the ponding. So it's an improvement.
And you are Roy DeHart? Okay.
I see you walking your dogs down by the rotary there.
does she pick up?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Sneaking over the ladies again, but
I got my poop bags in my pocket here.
Good. Anyone else have a concern or a comment? No? Thank you all for coming out. Appreciate it. And we'll see you, Matt, bright and early on Saturday.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Continue to the 23rd.
So is there a motion to continue the public hearing, notice of intent, DEP file number 100-0496, I'm assuming till our next meeting?
Yes.
Second?
Which would be when?
The 23rd is our next meeting?
23rd is our next meeting.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It's unanimously. So our next meeting is January 23rd.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have the plans for this one on the computer, I apologize. I could just, I know, I could get it, I could put the GIS up.
I can't get used to driving riding.
I could plug that into my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah? Still doesn't seem possible.
I can go here and go to
Okay.
the assessor.
Next item this evening is a request for determination of applicability, number 62 Willow Road. Do we have any? Would you like to join us, please? State your name and address for the records, please.
Yes, I am Evan Carloni.
Say it again, please.
Evan Carloni.
Evan,
Could you spell that?
Yes. Last name is C-A-R-L-O-N-I. First name E-V-A-N.
Okay. And you are property owner? or-
I am here on behalf of the property owner.
Okay.
I am the septic system designer.
Okay.
And we are here for an RDA for a septic system replacement of actually two failed systems that we are replacing with a single new system in the rear of the property.
Two failed systems. Why are there two systems?
There are two systems for this property currently out behind it's a multifamily. And
Okay.
there's multiple units that feed into two separate systems from all sorts of, the plumbing is pretty snaky, wonky. It's kind of like chasing what goes where, but ultimately there are two systems on the property that,
Is this one of those new?
I can't.
no. No. Yep.
How many units total?
I'm under the impression that there are 4 2-bedroom units.
Okay.
4-2.
4 2-bedroom units, yeah.
There we go.
So it's,
Now I got it. Nope. I can't do it.
We all have it.
it is so a total of 8 bedrooms, which is fairly large for the size lot that we have at 0.27 acres. So the plan is to remove the 2 failed systems and to tie the 2 plumbing lines together into single septic, well, actually there's 2 septic tanks in series due to the size of the system, and then there's a pump chamber after that then pumps to a single leach field. It's a chamber system, and it's an innovative alternative system so that it can be shrunk down in size a bit from a conventional pipe and stone system due to our site restrictions that we have. It is rated to be driven on, so it's under a portion of the existing parking area in the rear, and then the other portion is the backyard, which is grass currently. We extend within the outer riparian zone by approximately 30 feet, and the plan is to, on the outside of the construction area, is to have an erosion control to prevent anything from going out into the neighboring lot, which it does slope off from 62 to 60 Willow about 8 feet or so down into their parking lot.
And there's no possibility of hooking into town sewer?
So the town sewer is going northwest is a few properties up the way, and then we actually, from when our testing was conducted to now, we actually hit the brakes a bit because there was plans for the town sewer, but from my understanding is it's not going to extend in front of the property, unfortunately, because
Yeah, I was hoping Matt would be here till we could ask the question, but he's being, being asked by residents. But I haven't heard anything in regards to it being tie-in yet.
Yeah.
I can run out and ask him. Let
Would
me
you
go,
mind?
let me go run out and see if he
That would be
see if he
helpful.
knows.
He might know.
it would be great if they could, because honestly, this system, it is a bit of an undertaking.
Sure.
It's a small lot, and an installer is going to have to haul everything in and out.
Mhm.
There's nowhere to stockpile.
No.
Right.
So it's going to be a lot. It will be costly to the owner.
Right. Oh, yeah. We moved into our house and it was on septic, but it failed. It was way cheaper to tie into town than it was to replace it.
So if we have 2 failed systems right now, 4 apartments, currently occupied?
He's gonna come in.
Excellent.
It was when we were doing the testing. I'm not sure if it is still.
Know what they're doing in lieu of a loo?
When it backs up, they have to pump.
Okay.
They have to pump. That's what the state code
Okay.
dictates, and that's my impression of what's happening. But I know that the tenants have had some problems.
Mm-hmm.
They voiced their concerns when I was there doing the testing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, you thought you got away, didn't you?
I did.
You did.
We're so sorry.
Could you join
but
us, please,
it's-
again? Thank you. We just have questions about this piece of, the system currently designed is going to be septic system.
Okay.
Town sewer is going to extend to that piece of property.
So we were trying to get a plan in place for that before the road was paved. And unfortunately, we just didn't have enough time, so the idea was brought up by the gas station developer. And they just couldn't get their permits and plans in on time to extend the sewer. Because right now, I think the sewer starts, is that Bayberry Lane?
Yeah.
That's, yeah, so the sewer line actually starts right at that driveway, more or less.
I would think, yeah.
Right.
It's gotta go up to all those houses.
So that sewer line, that project I was talking about, would go from that driveway all the way up to Route 2A. But unfortunately, the road was paved.
Yeah, it's been
And
paved.
we got approvals to extend the sewer into Littleton. That was a whole approval process. But I guess, long story short, that project's not going to happen
I was wondering about
for now, but it could still happen in the future. So we have the approvals in place to actually do it. But since the road's been paved, I don't think.
Yeah, you usually have a moratorium on cutting again.
Right.
Right, so it's not gonna happen now.
Not now, but it could happen in the next, usually it's a 5-year
Yeah.
window after a road's paved where you can cut into it again. And that's when we probably get approval from the state to be able to extend it out onto Route 2A.
So I was just gonna say, so is that a state
Yeah.
That's state.
moratorium? Because that's not state highway, right? They're on 2A. They're not technically, that's our road, is it not?
That is our road. But just going back to 2A, that's where the gas station
Yeah, but
is.
what Matt's saying is the proposal to bring the sewer up is to serve the gas station up in Littleton at 2A, that whole parking lot area and that whole thing. So to bring it all up, they'd have to go through and cut into the highway, to the state road. So that's why they'd have to get their approvals to do all that again.
But we could still go to this property in the interim, potentially.
Potentially,
That's-
but it's a matter of cutting the road open to put in
Yeah.
a couple hundred feet of where we do the whole thing, and then cutting the road again to do more.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And I'm just saying. well,
But
the
it still
DPW
excludes,
wants
it
to
still
be like-
excludes the state concern, I guess is what I'm getting
Yeah.
at.
I'm just thinking of the DPW side of to go in and cut and then patch it and then have all the frost heaves and this, that, on a freshly paved road, and then do that again and have it do that again and then wait. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
I hate driving over those roads.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I'd be the one driving over it every day, because that's where I go, so.
So from a DPW standpoint, they'd try to hold off until they do the whole thing.
Yep.
Instead of piecing it together.
No, I get it, you get one.
And I can guarantee you, I'm sure that the property owner of this would love to see town sewer go up.
We would have taken on the project ourselves, but the developer promised to pay for the whole thing, which is a benefit to the town. So obviously for us, we were all in on that. Allows these properties to connect, but they just couldn't get their permits in on time. It was just too late.
Imagine that. A private person being slower than the state, wow. Because the state only took how many years to do that? Doing it 3 different times?
Yeah, it took a while.
I'm guessing there's no way to, I mean, you can't wait at all, let alone 5 years.
It's a very active failure.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
unfortunate.
that answers our question.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, where were we?
So the new system would take the 2 lines that are currently going into the leach field into one? Would there still be 1 tank or 2?
2 tanks.
So there's 2 tanks, but the 2 lines leaving the building now would funnel into the single first tank. We need a second tank for settling purposes. Anytime there's multifamily, we need to have either a 2-compartment tank or 2 tanks in series to satisfy Title V requirements. So we have 2 tanks, 2 sewer lines go into single tank, and then everything flows into the next tank, and then that flows into a pump chamber, which pumps to the field. So it's a network of tanks until we get to a single field. So we'll be removing 2 septic tanks that exist there now, 1 leach bed, and then there is also a leach pit. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Does it,
How's that different from a leach field?
A leaching pit is more or less like you're basically it's just instead of having a tank, it's a pit.
Gotcha.
So to get rid of the leaching pit is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Leaching pit is more vertically based, where now we go with bed. We go with more horizontally based rather than using our surface area deeper in the ground. We use it horizontal and try to keep it more closer to the surface, to the ground surface.
And this disturbance, is this is going to be more or less where the existing tanks and leach field pit is now?
Yes. Yep. Yep. It's a good portion of the back part of the property.
Mhm.
Yep.
Commissioners have concerns and questions?
Do we have a site plan, or maybe I'm missing it, that shows like this, buffers and everything, and like where it's actually being?
So I've got, it should be on the, let's see, one of the last pages here of Matt Morrow. He just put together the paperwork there. He's got it. I've also got the larger copy, printed copy here as well.
You want to look at this, Jeff?
So you can see that darker area, that's the stream.
Gotcha.
The red is the floodplain.
So how much further out is like the 100-foot and all that?
So it's a 200-foot buffer because it's a river, riverfront.
Yeah.
So the 100-foot isn't even on the property. Property's only within the 200, and it's in that outer,
You said
the 30
was it?
feet of that 200. So,
That makes
yeah,
me feel
yeah,
better.
so it's outside of even 150 feet of the river.
Thank you for finding that.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. No, I had this assessment, like, I know I can put layers.
Yeah, Jen, I don't know if you saw it. It's kind of portrayed here. So this
Oh,
line, that's the
yeah, I
200
totally
setback.
just missed that whole thing.
Yeah, so that's,
Yeah, it just wasn't. In the,
yeah, and then this is Willow here, so. So,
Oddly
yeah,
enough,
it's like that.
DEP actually reviewed the RDA, which for some reason they did this time, which they usually don't do. And they did have a comment in regards to the floodplain being on property because it wasn't shown on the plan. Matt Martin, who drafted the application, came in and talked to me about it, and I asked him, he said, oh, no, it's on the other property. And I said, oh, okay, and I pulled it up and said, oh, yeah, no, it's not on yours. So this, you actually can see it, so if anyone were to review those comments, could actually physically see that it's not on this property. And I think it's just because when you look at the map, like a GIS map, part of it, you might just get confused for 60 and 62 Willow on there, which is why that comment probably came up.
Okay.
The Board of Health will review the permit on Monday,
Okay.
just so you know as well.
You have any questions, comments, Jess?
Just to clarify for the accuracy of my minutes, going from a bed and pit to a field.
Yes.
George?
Is there a reason why test holes weren't actually done where you're proposing, like, and they were done outside?
Yes, because we can't get accurate measurements on the high groundwater table and soil horizons inside of the leach field. This whole area where where the field is being proposed is leach field, and even on the outskirts of the leach field.
Oh, that's the part of the current leach
The
field.
current, yeah.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
So
Thank
we'd
you.
be digging in the existing field, so we need to try to find virgin ground where we can.
Yeah, okay.
Are there any variances to the Board of Health for the permit? Or just a regular, straightforward permit?
No, it was, we had to apply for a local upgrade to use a sieve analysis.
Okay.
Which is just because it was so wet.
Okay.
And the layer that we had to actually perk was so deep, it really wasn't safe to go down. We would have had to go down
Okay.
about 8 feet.
I just
7
want to make
feet.
sure when it goes to them, there's not something that I could sit there and deny, so I just want to make sure.
No, I'm under the impression from Bridget at Neshoba that it's already,
I know I missed her on
Just
Monday
go with
because I
signature.
wasn't here. I was going to ask her.
yeah.
Sick kid.
They're both about 4 a.m. the whole night on.
So can I ask, how much is this expected to cost the property owners to do this?
I don't know for certain, but I did speak with an installer today that he was thinking somewhere close to 6 digits.
Whoa.
A little bit of frost heave, yeah.
I know, right?
Trust me, I understand that side, I understand the DPW, especially when they had,
Yep.
thought it was gonna be all paid for, and then try to come up with everyone always complains about their sewer connection fees now.
When are you starting this project? Would like to start this project?
I don't think that they're planning to start. I know I'm getting contractors calling.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure that they're planning to wait until spring.
Till spring.
Yeah. I know we've got quite a bit of frost out there now already, and it's been cold, and looks like it's staying cold. So I think the frost is going to be, within a week or two, is probably going to be deep to the point where installers are going to start to ease off a little bit.
Well, I'm gonna go out and take a look at this.
We'll be out.
We'll already be out on Saturday.
Do you need to take a look at it?
I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
I don't see where it's necessarily to. I mean, if you guys want to, that's entirely up to you. I mean, it's a previously disturbed area, it's replacing an existing septic system that's currently in failure with a better system that's actually more out of the ground within 170 feet away from an existing stream.
No option.
I'm not
for
itching
town.
to get out there, but
No.
I mean, if you want to go, I think it's fine. You can go look at it. I just don't see the absolute need. I mean, when we had, and just to be all fairness, when we had the old David Ross come in for their septic replacement this summer, you didn't go out and look at that one. And that one I think was closer than this one.
And this would probably add in, if you had to be there, that would add in consultant fee more to the already 6-digit. Yeah.
so you think we should be consistent? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, in all fairness.
You good with not going?
Yeah.
Mark? Oh, good. I'm good with it.
Okay.
It would be a waste.
Okay.
It's getting late.
It is getting late.
Any other comments?
Oh, that was a good one.
It's pretty good, it's pretty good.
Make sure you note that with the air
Put that in
quotes.
there.
Air quotes.
Is there a motion to issue a negative determination at 62 Willow Road? Do I need to go into what it is, septic system replacement? What else?
Currently failed system.
Currently failed system. Seriously failed.
No town sewer.
No town sewer.
No options.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too for showing up.
Have a good rest of your evening.
Nice to meet you.
You as well.
You want a cookie? It's like a shortbread. They're pretty good.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Take the whole old
Are that close to town sewer?
Alrighty, next item this evening is a review conservation analysis, 38 Groton Harbor Road. Ah, we have some people coming up.
Oh, we got better plans than what I'm gonna have too, so that's good.
I would like to introduce myself. My name's Janet Field, and this is my husband, Michael.
Hi, how are you?
And this is Mark Arnold, who actually did the conservation analysis for us. We're proposing to build a housing project in Ayer off of High Street, up near the nursing home. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that neighborhood up there, you know? Where we're
Yeah.
talking. So this is I mean, as per the planning board's newer process, where we started with the conservation analysis and coming to you so you can see what the site's all about.
Could I just, so you're Janet Field?
I am Janet.
You're Michael Field?
Mark Arnold with Goddard Consulting.
Okay.
Goddard.
Mark Arnold.
Is it okay if I have a seat?
Oh, okay.
Of course, absolutely. Pull up a chair, sir.
Oh, it's okay.
Uh-oh.
The leg didn't get tight.
Because, oh, there we go. So, right here.
So Heather, just for you, if anyone has questions, so there's 3 copies of
Oh,
the
thank you. I
analysis
tried
here,
to do the analysis so
and then
many
I've got,
times, and it just would not.
and then-
Photographs, maybe.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's a full set, there's a large set of plans, and there's 3 sets of 11 by 17s too, just so that way.
I emailed them all to you, but I could not get them to print to save my life. Print.
Excellent. So again, Mark Arnold with Goddard Consulting here on behalf of Lincoln Developers LLC for the open space subdivision here off of High Street and Harvard Road in Ayer. The purpose of this analysis, the conservation analysis, is for open space subdivision. The open space subdivision is based on the goals of condensing development to create larger areas of open space to preserve land for recreational use and also provide more conscious development of a subdivision or development versus just the traditional large developments that are of the past, where they would be large roads, large basins, everything spread out, and all this micro forest around development versus a larger contiguous open space, which is so important to the ecological integrity of New England. So the analysis walks through several different criteria that the open space regulations require. The first is looking at what you have for soils. So in terms of soils, this is a classic till soil. So in terms of soils, it's actually rather boring. So I have a master's in soil science from UMass Amherst, and when I get to see big sites like this, I'm always interested, is there anything kind of interesting out there? And from here down to here, you basically have thin till, shallow bedrock, ledge outcroppings. There's actually large ledge cliff outcroppings over here. Down here, you do see a slight transition into some sands and gravels, but nothing that significant there. Again, it's a very large hillside. You'll see the topography is pretty high. It's kind of flat up here, slopes down here, and then it comes flat again down here. But otherwise, you have a whole hillside going down. So in terms of unique topography, there's nothing really unique there, which means the soils often remain very, very similar to what you would expect on a New England hillside in terms of the soils, which again is basically thin till with shallow bedrock. We broke the area in terms of land cover into kind of a few different areas mainly based on vegetation diversity, topography, and a few other things that we just thought were important in terms of understanding the open space's integrity. So first of all, I just want to summarize kind of what's been here historically in the past. So historically in the past, there's an abandoned house over here off of High Street with a detached garage. There's a paved driveway that comes down through here that's still visible. And there's early successional forest that's in this area here and around the house, basically because it was cleared originally when they built the house and it's been left to go. There's also an existing house, single-family house down here off of Groton Harvard Road with an associated backyard and shed. The rest of the land has basically been relatively undisturbed. There's an old cart path that shapes down through here. That's basically not been used in a long time. There isn't really anything evidence of activity, but that's something else there. And we also noticed another ATV trail back in here that hasn't really been used. Otherwise, basically the forest along this side and back here has basically all been undisturbed and natural. So we broke it up into a few different areas, mainly, again, based on topography. So our first area was the central and southeastern portion of the site, which is this area right here. So the reason why we broke this area up was because of the historical disturbance that's been there. So when you look at this area here, forest, you have a lot of young, mature, maturing forest in this area here, but because of the historic development, you also have a lot of invasives. So you have your bittersweet, your Russian olive, your honeysuckle, all those invasives in there. Once you get out of this envelope and the first about 100 to 200 feet outside that original clearing, the invasives die out, and you go to natural upland forest. So basically, up in this area here is where you have your most dense invasive presence in terms of forest. You have less mature trees, invasives, historic disturbance, natural forest, and then back down here again, just your classic single-family house along a typical New England street. So again, up in here now, there are some other. I mean, along these fringes, you will get your classic trees that are in uplands. You get pigment hickory, white pine, American chestnut, low bush blueberry, and huckleberry, and other things like that. But again, invasives is Norway maple, burning bush, autumn olive, things like that. There's
American chestnut up there?
Yeah, we did see some of that. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, really?
That's exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there is, yeah. So there is, and as we go on, we'll talk about some more of the diversity that we did see up in that area as well. So then there's some rocky ledge outcroppings along here as well. Again, just from a feature standpoint, with like lots of shrubs growing on those, because again, the shallow bedrock there. The north central portion of the site up in here is a really nice sloped area. It's got a lot of red oak, black oak, white oak, sugar, pine, pignut hickory again, red maples up in here. There is, again, some invasives that we mentioned back off this area here, off the back of the house with the ATV trail. And there's some unique topography in terms of back in this area here, the steep slopes. Just again, in terms of like what's kind of different from a normal like flat woodland area, you've got these kind of steep slopes, which kind of create a different kind of habitat in terms of the trees and the shrubs. And back in here, you start seeing a lot of high bush, low bush blueberry, which is great for habitat and stuff like that. The areas down, as we go down towards the southeast portion of the property, this area here in terms of vegetation we saw was actually the most diverse, because you actually had a lot of white birch that came in as well. Some large white birch and stuff like that, which was kind of actually unique to the area. There wasn't white birch up here, wasn't white birch here, and honestly, in terms of like landscape, when we're in forests a lot, doing delicious that, you don't see a lot of white birch mixed in with the other hardwoods. Usually, it's only in early successional forests that you see the white birch, and after the mature trees come in, like the oaks, the white birch all die out because they're kind of an early successional tree. But we did see a lot of that diversity down here. Yes, some of them are very large size.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, good question. Yeah, so there was. In fact, there's actually a 20-inch birch right here, which is very large actually in terms of the size. And so it was something we actually noticed a lot in terms of that area, was the fact that there was a lot of actual diversity in the birch there. In terms of hydrology of the site, there's no wetlands, floodplain, isolated wetlands, anything on this property. Again, you can see how sloped it is, so it's really hard for anything to really kind of form in terms of hydrology. So really you just have, shallow to deep groundwater depending on where the ledge is kind of underneath the topography itself. The site, in terms of wildlife habitat, we didn't really notice anything significant habitat. I mean, you have your classical snags that are scattered throughout the forest, logs in the forest, but there was nothing like we kind of walked in this area, we're looking for anything. Do you have caves, anything else that might be interesting for wildlife? And nothing really significant came out in terms of like a unique wildlife habitat feature. We do wildlife habitat violations under the Wetlands Protection Act, so that's something we're thinking about as we're out there in terms of what wildlife habitat do we see. Again, in terms of vegetation, you have down here, you have the most native diversity. You have a lot of low bush blueberry, which again is a great source for berries, and then you have a lot of the nut trees as well. And then again, diversity in terms of vegetation, you have the birches as well. Also up here, you've got more, a lot of white pine, a little more oak here, but again, down here, it was like a nice mixture of everything together, which just kind of created, and when we walked to the areas, it just felt, we knew that this area was definitely, in terms of uniqueness and kind of better in terms of open space, this had the best diversity of vegetation as a whole. The, again, just, we did look at, the subdivision asked us to look at the UMass Extension CAPS program for ecological integrity. The property is not mapped for that. In terms of proximity to other open space, it doesn't abut direct open space. The nearest large piece of open forest or land that's town-owned is the school system, which is up here. And there is a lot of forested land behind single-family houses on Groton Road and over here that connects to that school system there. And again, there's no wetlands, isolated, vegetated, floodplain. We're not an ACEC or anything like that. There's no endangered species habitat. Everything that's kind of you're seeing mapped in terms of there's ACEC across the street in the pond. You've got endangered species in the pond across the street down here. But nothing in terms of that directly abuts the property or is on it itself. So when we look at that, this is kind of what we have here, what's on the property itself in terms of the current ecological nature. And now part of the subdivision plans and plan requirements is you do what's called a yield plan. Now this plan is designed basically just as a concept to say, if we went the normal, traditional 60s subdivision, what would you do on the property to see how many lots you could create? And this is kind of what you would do. You'd do a nice road right through to connect everything in, find a place to put a cul-de-sac, and put lots across the whole thing, and just carve everything up. Lots of disturbance, everything like that. But the purpose of this plan is just for the planning board to understand, what could you do? And then how can we say, well, you know what, rather than complying with all the zoning stuff in certain ways, if you use open space, you get special benefits, but you have to provide us land that's of value to the to the open space, and that open space basically becomes a place that the public can use as a recreational space, but also provides a lot more value to the environment, which is important. So the current concept plan that's going to be brought before the planning board is this plan here. So the project basically ties off of High Street here and comes in here, has several dead-end streets, doesn't connect any down to the Groton Harvard Road, which basically keeps the traditional, up in here in Ayer, you've got the dense kind of neighborhood area here, kind of meets that area there, but also allows the single-family neighborhoods down here on Groton Harvard Road to stay kind of by themselves here. Basically, the open space is everything on this side of the blue line and down. In terms of what's there, we've got over 6 acres of open space that's there. Basically, it's the calculations that's allowed. So the project has been designed actually in terms of the easiest place to build the project and really make things work is actually up here. And it actually works out well because right here is where the house is. This is where all the invasives are and where the historic disturbances happen is down in here. So although some of the fringes may be starting to encroach into areas that are natural, the primary natural areas down here are kept. The other benefits of this open space plan is also the goal is that this house would be taken down and we have the ability to potentially to work with the town in the sense that this could be a pocket park, could be it can be a little parking area, and you can have some trails in here and then potential connectivity eventually to the school system. It also creates connectivity in terms of access for pedestrians to go from here down to Groton Harvard Road to create more connectivity to the whole town area, which again, downtown area being to the south of the parcel. There's a stormwater basin shown in the open space that it's allowed as part of the open space regulations. It is kind of in the middle of the flat area, so these nice slopes up in here, and the diversity that we saw down here with the birches are kind of still kept there. Some of the drain line stuff are still being considered in terms of their locations, and that'll be something that the planning board is going to be dealing with in terms of like the stormwater design and the utility design with the DPW. But in terms of the open space, the goal of the analysis is to bring to the commission information about the land, the topography, this vegetation, the hydrology, any unique features, and let the commission provide recommendations to the planning board on whether or not an open space subdivision with preserving land, such say in a situation on the east end of the parcel versus the west side of the parcel, is that a better use of open space in terms of preservation? Would the commission want to see this preserved, this preserved, this preserved? Again, when you have wetlands and other stuff like that, it often becomes more valuable when you're protecting wetlands to provide more open space around them. This lot doesn't have that, so it's since we're looking at the forest and everything else, and again, also, I think benefit to this piece of the open space connecting right to that other land that again is privately owned until you get to the school system, but it's still land that's probably not going to be developed too much because you got single family houses all down here on Garwood Harbor Road. You have steep slopes. People aren't likely to be driving development up the back of their properties there. So that's the analysis. Do you have any questions? I'm glad to take those.
How many units?
55.
Single family?
They're
There's a,
Side by side.
There's duplexes
Single family,
up to
duplex
five units next to each other.
yeah, I think there's 4 single families, 4 duplexes, and then there's a couple, yeah.
There's a bunch of triplexes, a quadplex, and one quadruplex.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it.
Five units right here. But again, the goal of providing a more condensed development rather than just classic New England subdivision, which is what the point of the open space is.
So it's kind of like Neshoba Village. Like
Yeah.
they're all built together, like
Yep.
side by side. Kind of.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
20-inch
Can
birch
be.
you mentioned, does that survive in this?
Yeah, that's,
I don't know.
That's I don't.
that's a big question. So Danny and I, along with the field, we had walked the site, and it's one of those things where when we all go out and look at it, because we're gonna have to do that, it's gonna be something where I think it'd be probably beneficial to know or to have flagged those trees of interest within the proposed open space, just for us to see, because it's not, it's hard, because when we went out, nothing was marked. So I think to have just like a guesstimate on where the stormwater system will be, along with a guesstimate on where the development is in the open space, so we can have that idea. When we do our recommendation to the planning board, we can put those in there to make sure we're safe, everything we can do to save mature trees over a certain diameter.
Because that 20-inch birch is right in the middle of that.
Yeah, that's what we think.
It's right around here actually. So
Yeah.
there is I think there is potential.
It's gonna be potential to keep that.
To save it. I mean, I think this is on the edge of the birch diversity right in here. It definitely got more diverse down there. I think, when the commission does walk the property, you'll definitely see the difference in terms of that. Again, I mean, up in here you do have your classical New England forest up here, but the same thing is true down here, and then again diversity different down here. The fringes of this, you have that. This area right here is where you'll really see the difference, which is right in here. And so basically using that as kind of your starting point of where should you do development, branching off of that, and then working with, again, the open space calculations. That again, it's not a question of how much you can preserve, it's a calculation of the development itself, in terms of how much you actually have to preserve. So I mean, they could have split the development up, but they decided to keep it contiguous, all one piece versus like split the development, have open space in the middle. And the beauty of this, keeping this neighborhood kind of nature, and also giving the town the ability to do parking right directly to recreational spaces is great as well.
It's kind of unique in 2025 to see a project that doesn't have a whole bunch of wetlands, right? They're usually so working around.
So that's one thing. Yeah, it's a very unique situation in terms of we're not looking at streams and wetlands and habitat within those systems, which usually have a lot more interest in different things. Again, habitat in terms of wetland systems and near wetland systems are usually a lot more high quality because of the nature of the wetlands drawing animals and wildlife to them because of the water.
It is a very interesting site, and where the proposed open space towards the top of that plan, where there's a knoll. I mean, you can't really see the topography on here, but I know where it is. It's a high point. So you walk up. We all walk. I made them walk up there because I wanted to see it. When you get up to the top there, yeah, you can see across the entire site, which makes it's a good vantage point. And that part would be in what will most likely be the proposed open space. And that's, you can see the whole site. It's very rocky and ledgy. So I'm sure there's little critters that are living and hiding under there. It is just all forested there, along with this open space. Would give us the opportunity to maybe approach neighbors going forward to buy off of there and connect everybody out.
Yep.
So there's the potential with this to then look in the future to have everything connect straight to the high school. And that would give us the opportunity to even have leg in that.
Yeah, and that, what's the distance from there to the high school, more or less?
I think it's probably around a quarter to half a mile.
So it wouldn't be too bad.
So
Because the whole area is
in the
just
report,
hill.
we do have quite a few appendices. So I think it's
And with the
appendix E. So there's, based on the scale, it's about a quarter mile to the school system. So
Okay.
this is the property here. So you go to appendix E. Next one.
E. There we go.
There you go. Yeah. So there you can see there's the
Yeah.
red. The red is the parcels there. So you can see basically that open space would be if you got access or at least easements.
Easements, and you can.
Easements to allow access through those 3 parcels off that cul-de-sac to the north.
I mean, and you can,
west
yeah,
of
and you
property,
can just.
or all those lots off of Groton Harbor Road, which again, it's all steeply sloped stuff. So
Mhm.
the developments you can see are all focused down by the road because everything behind those houses is very steep and very difficult to use.
Be really neat.
So that's again, in terms of the development, focusing development, disturbed areas, everything else. Again, when you walk the property, you can feel to see that. Again, the rest of the appendices are basically just to kind of show you kind of what I already talked about, which again, we're not near any wellheads, aquifers, ACECs, all that stuff is all not even touching the property.
It's hard to believe.
Basically. So yeah, it's because it's a big area of lit hillside. So therefore, it doesn't have the gravel and sand that you get for water and stuff like that. And again, it's the steepness of the slope basically prevents it from basically having wetland form, which usually form on more shallower slopes.
And there's lots of rock poking its head out. Oh, I'm there.
The water can't really sit around long enough in a flat enough area. Like, I mean, we walked around and I was looking actually for it because when I saw the parcel, I saw the size of it. I'm just curious if there's any little isolated things you might be able to find. We looked around, I was like, there was nothing. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, we've seen hillsides like that, but it's still kind of always kind of funky to see that and actually realize, oh, there's actually no wetlands on this whole hillside. Yep, that's correct.
Wow.
Especially when you get to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Any comments, questions? I'm sorry?
Oh, just one. When we did the John Carroll Reserve, we did push back on the surface stormwater system being in the land that was counted towards the required open space.
We always do. It's in every single one. Stratton Hill has it as well. They all do. They all have every single one we have
But
has
if you,
has the stormwater within the open space.
but Stratton.
Stratton Hill does.
Oh, okay. Well, we did raise that.
And I know for Curly Circle got pushed back, but
The reason it didn't matter so much there was they were giving more in excess of the 50% requirement.
Shaker Hill Mill does as well. No, I had this. I mean, I had that same comment that I don't think it's fair, but that's actually allows from DEP to do that too.
Okay.
So, unfortunately with this site, because of the topography on it, to put the stormwater anywhere else, if we didn't put it there, the other option, and Mike could talk, it would be to put it all the way at the bottom, but then you're piping everything down there, which is more of an issue anyway.
Yeah.
And if you put it up closer to the road, then you're actually having to bring in more fill or do more cut to put the development in.
Okay.
So
it's good rationale.
It's a good rationale for
it. The location was actually selected based on this is the best place to build a basin with the minimum amount of clearing. Anywhere else, the topography forces more.
I made the same comments
So
because I'm concerned with the trees.
It's in terms of if you want to have the development up here, that's the space to have the basin. This would be the second option there, in terms of that. And again, putting it down there also removes the ability to have like a parking lot, a pocket park, and everything else from open space. So it's like, okay, what do you do? And again,
I do like the open space being 1/2 of the thing as opposed to
like a
having
ring.
Little strips.
We did actually just recently, after we met last time, we engaged the services of a landscape architect who's working to try to make sure that, like, in those disturbed areas, he's coming up with, indigenous,
Yes.
species of plants to put, where they're, like, on the edges of the basin where it'll be disturbed, so that, you know, it'll grow, it won't be overgrown by non-native.
Yeah, once you disturb, the invasives come.
Right, so yeah, he's working on the
And you
plan.
said that the basin's flagged, so we'll be able to see.
Yeah, there's,
Yep.
well, yeah, there's,
I have a,
Test holes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have the test hole and I can, you know, within a couple feet of the area of it. It's a ledge site, so there isn't an opportunity to just either do intercepting, you know, like Caltex on the road in some, you know, in some areas where, I mean, part of the reason that this site was never developed was that it's ledge. If it was all sand, you could go with Caltex in the roads to minimize the recharge areas, but it's ledge.
Yeah, in terms of the layout too, you can see, I mean, they put the road down the center, units on both sides to, again, reduce development. The more units you have per linear feet of road, the denser the development as a whole versus more roadway. So, I mean, more road, you could put a basin here, but then where do you put the units? You end up putting a T road here with more units on both sides. By that time, you've got a lot more impervious surface actually as well. So in terms of net condensing, this actually is pretty, it's actually very efficient in terms of the layout itself.
Or just less units.
The what?
That's another possibility.
Yeah, you could do less units. I mean, it's an open space. This is a very, although it's efficient in terms of the layout, it helps with the cost of actually construction on this parcel, because this is not an easy site to work.
and when we go back to the first, you don't have to, but the you know, the conventional subdivision plan, that actually allows us to build 91 units. Right?
Yeah,
The math.
for the OSRD,
You could
how
build,
the math works out, they're putting in a fraction of the number of units that they're allowed.
Oh,
Yeah,
so in
so-
other words, like on this site, let's say you'd have 5 units just from the same sort of designs that you're talking about?
For the open space plan with the calculations of,
right,
um,
based upon, like, so that's 32 units, 32 homes.
Yep.
So you could build, I don't know what,
It's-
I didn't do the math,
Yeah,
but
it's one of the
engineers.
calculations ends up being, and then I think if you take into account the slope as well, though, in those calculations. So I'm subtracting some because of the steepness of the site, but what they're putting in is a fraction of what they would actually be allowed to per the OSRD. Whether it's what they're allowed to do in order for the site is a different story, which is where it makes you kind of go like, well, you have to have 50% open space, which is what they have. So you can't technically get more units because they have the max that would fit there, but per the calculations, it's 40-something more units.
Yeah.
like garden style, you could have increased it.
If you had garden style apartments, you could
Yeah.
increase it. But again, then you're looking at more in regards to
Paving and,
paving or water because of the amount of parking area, plus
This
certain
gives
amount,
the
you
best
have
option
sprinkler
of either
systems in there.
starter houses or lower priced houses,
yeah.
So it's,
different
I agree with you, Mark,
styles.
and then it's trying to, if we could get less units out there, maybe we could change this or change that, but then the project on the development side doesn't always become viable. Which you look at it going, well, that might not be a bad thing, but then if they sold it and somebody else took it in, what would we come out with after the fact? So you look at what you have proposed to you and hopefully go with that. Go out and look at it. I said, again, that basin kind of like, I think me and Danny both were just like, yeah, we don't know if we like that, but again, where do you put it? Because of the mature trees in that area. But we can look at it and put that in the recommendation as far as
Trying to preserve whatever.
trying to preserve as best we can in there, and then make up whatever we do lose in as far as a planting plan going forward on the site.
Okay, so can we go out this coming Saturday?
Absolutely, yes.
Is that doable?
So when are we
We're at
going
Bly
to?
Street at 8,
8:45?
be able to be over here by, 8:45, so.
So you want to park up top near the nursing home on High Street? I mean, does it make more sense to start at the top?
That's
Yeah.
that's the best.
Park at the bottom and walk up.
I mean,
There's
There's not enough parking down there.
There's really only 2 spots down there. I mean, the house,
Yeah.
Still occupied?
no.
No, it's not occupied.
Yeah, there's not much of a driveway after that.
I'm only
Yeah.
so.
So park
So up by-
at the nursing?
Yeah, there's plenty of.
Yeah,
parking,
right
just
there
put
in
it
the
up
High
there.
Street.
Right there?
They paved the whole area right there in the
Yep.
end there that you can park at.
Yeah, you can actually see where the old road for the house is too.
Yeah, it's, you can walk, yeah.
But we'll be up there. We'll get up a little bit early and.
You get to walk down Invasive Lane.
Yeah. I mean, even in winter, I could tell that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank everybody for your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for showing up.
Just confirming the time, so what are we doing, 8:45 or 9?
8:45.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Before you go, Ruth, did you have?
Are these going to be multifamily and it's just single family homes?
They're all single family, but some of them are connected,
Okay,
like townhouse.
Yeah, I'll just
the
bring it.
Ayer has a certain number of multifamily homes within half a mile of the train station by Omaha. So is this anywhere in that vicinity?
It's actually not. Danny, the town planner, had asked that question. Danny, the town planner, Danny Ruiz, had asked that question. Someone, I think, asked that question. It ends up being, I think, too far outside. It's within the so many, like a mile or so radius. Yeah, and this ends up being like a mile or 2 out. It ends up being, I think it ends up being too far out. And the town already did the overlay district.
Right.
So at the town meeting, they did the overlay to meet that zoning. So this is outside of the overlay. For the
That's the
MBTA.
problem. I
That
think
was
it
the
close
problem.
enough.
Yeah,
It was close
enough.
enough.
We already did the overlay at town meeting. But it does trigger the inclusionary housing, so there will be affordable units in there.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention that.
There's 5
There's
affordable.
5 affordable units.
52? Sorry,
55?
55?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry,
So what percentage of the, like 50% of the,
yeah, 50% is,
Open space.
and
Mm-hmm.
how many acres is that?
so that's 6 acres.
12.3.
Yeah, it's just over 6 acres, yeah, so.
You should bring them.
All right, are we okay?
Thanks very much.
Very much.
They're almost 14-year-old, not usually. Not usually. I know, I apologize. It all came out at once. This is what happens. Unfortunately, the next one's gonna.
Alrighty, next item this evening is a review RFP 2025 pond treatments.
Yes, so I sent the draft out. Thank you to Jess for taking the times that I forgot to change the dates because when you're just carrying it from one over to the other, you miss dates, which is why I sent it to you, mostly to catch those because I know I'll miss one. There was an addition I added in there per the end of the year pond report for all ponds to have a what's this, like a water quality test to verify for nutrients, specifically phosphorus, and then to have mitigation for that added to the request, and if those reports come back high and needing any sort of treatment for that. And that was per the end of year pond report. Everything else is the same as the previous year to keep in consistency with what's going forward, and that's basically what was in the pond report to end of year pond report.
The project description, the algae bloom in Sandy Pond, that was 2022?
Yeah, it was when I first started.
The what was?
Long ago already, okay.
The algae bloom, the blooming algae bloom. Yeah, it was my first year. That's how I started off my conservation agent position, was going around and putting up signs.
Yeah, we've done 2 summers without another one.
But we had a drought. Yeah, that was the year of the drought. That was why the algae bloom most likely happened.
And then we had the year of
The rain.
excess rain. And then this last year
It was
drought.
yeah, it turned into drought, but it was late enough in the year that it was.
We're still in severe drought.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. The severe drought has not been lifted yet.
snow from earlier didn't push us up.
Well, the snow today, though, should make up for a lot.
It was real wet snow.
We'll have to make sure that they address those phragmites. I mean,
Yes, when we have them come, when we do that, I'll make sure we have that. I will send it out to at least 3 firms for treatment, and we'll go from there with the amounts to make sure we have what we need on the town meeting warrant. I believe the select board's opening the warrant at their second meeting this month.
Does this mention the water chestnuts?
It does not mention the water chestnuts. Was there mention of water chestnuts in there? I know they were looking at them, but I don't think there was a.
They found
They hand
some
pulled
in
them.
Flanagan.
Yeah, they hand pulled them and they didn't find them again.
right. I've looked for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I can add it in there to just
Take
say.
a line to keep an eye out for or something.
I mean, we can add a line in there for any other invasives as seen on TV.
What was the pond, was it Pine Meadow that they said at the end of the season, basically there was like nothing?
Flanagan.
Flanagan, yep.
Okay, so.
But they did at the end of the year report basically stated to keep with the treatment as it was this current year, the last year. So I didn't change that in the RFP because I think they want to keep the treatment the same so nothing comes back.
Right.
Because the way that it's the pre-treatment, then it's just a spot sonar treatment. So the pre-treatment keeps anything from blooming too high, and then they do the spot sonar treatment if anything does pop up. So because they read it, because if nothing was found at the end of the season, doesn't mean it can't come up. I think it has to be so many seasons before they
Okay, so,
deem
yeah,
it
so
being like gone.
So the pre-treatment gets it while it's still
Underground.
under the water, underground, yeah, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That makes sense.
No, I was like, wait, I thought, so that's why I read the report, and the report, yeah, it's still suggested keeping the treatment for Flanagan the same, to have the pre-treatment, and that, I think that's, to catch anything before it comes up.
Yeah. And did you identify, like, roughly when, again, that this would happen?
What?
The treatments and all?
Yes.
Like, we want them by such and such?
Early May, and
Okay.
then, yep.
Because that can always a little bit vary.
Sorry, I'm just seeing it for the first time.
Yeah, if the plants aren't, if it's a slow spring, the plants aren't up to seed, you want to wait for them to be up a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can always adjust the date in there for the pre-treatment to be, earlier if season allows.
Yeah.
Given they're the experts on this more than I am in aquatic plants. So if they think they can go in and go in earlier and that'd be more beneficial, then, I mean, we can add that in there.
Yeah, so it needs to be guided by the actual climate.
The climate,
conditions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where it can be 70 in March now. And not, St. Patrick's Day can be warm and not snowy.
But no climate change.
I had that though, just to make note of that.
Did you ever get those, I forget what they're called, those discs that you put down?
I did.
You did?
Yep, I do have the Secchi discs, yep.
Yeah?
I just needed to bother somebody's canoe so I can go out and drive.
Yeah.
We got them.
Yeah.
So I want to
I'll
do
go
that
out with
though.
you.
Oh yeah,
That'll be
no, I
fun.
do. I have them. I ordered them.
And I've got
Cool.
Sandy Pond canoe.
Yeah.
Kayak.
So yeah, whenever you want to go out, I have them.
Not now.
No, not now. It's frozen. But in the spring or whatever, the summer, the peak season to see, yeah, I have them.
Okay.
You just have to take me with you. You could use them.
Yes.
You have already edited when the quotes must be sent in date-wise?
I did. I adjusted it to this current year, yeah, to keep in time with the last. So if I send it out.
Missed one.
I know, I missed one changing the date, but I mean, as far as the request, have it in, yeah, I adjusted that. And if I get it out next week or the week before,
Yeah.
it should be plenty of time. They have the whole month of February to get it to us.
Yeah. No, it's great. Good job.
I almost forgot about it. I was like, oh, I gotta put that on the agenda. I'm like, oh, the agenda's really long, I'm sorry. Couldn't
Anything
find the
else?
date on me.
I'm just curious. So you're doing the first Monday in March?
Yeah.
So the 3rd, not the 6th, right?
Is that, okay, yeah. Do I have it wrong?
So that's kind of what I'm
Okay.
wondering, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't even,
All right.
3rd of March,
Did
2025.
I might have looked at my calendar for 2024 instead of 2025 when I wrote it.
oh,
It's not going back
good
and forth.
catch, Mark.
Thank you, sorry.
Unless you want it on Thursday, March 6th.
I mean, I don't care, but Monday tends to be easier. But I'll fix it. Thank you.
I didn't even think to look at that. It's hard, you're doing these things repetitively.
Oh, no, I did the second Monday. That's why. So I have the 10th.
You
Okay,
want
you
the
can do
10th?
the 10th, okay.
Yeah, so I had the second Monday. I'm like, no, I thought I changed. So I have it on the 10th.
That works.
Because I think we meet that week. So I think that's why I
Yeah,
did
because we would,
that.
right, we meet the second Thursday then, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So if I already have,
Could make it March.
I could make it March.
6th, that Thursday.
I could.
We'll select that.
Yeah, no, because if we meet, so then we would have it on the 13th, we would review it.
Yeah.
We review them and pick the one, so that's why I had that.
Okay.
Yeah, because they usually come in there and say, yeah, no, okay, I had it right. I did check. Oh.
How about conservation office updates?
It's fairly slow, not counting this agenda. This agenda had a lot of just pick up stuff. The next meeting, I unfortunately will not be in attendance. It is the 6th grade middle school band concert. So I get to go to that. So I will not be here for the next meeting, but
I kind of want to go to that.
it's $5 an adult. So if you want to support yeah, the 5th grade is free, but middle school you have to pay. But that's okay.
Never can get
I'll pay to see my youngest play clarinet.
Yeah, just
Or pretend.
raise the taxes in the town, that'll
They already
cover it.
did that. Don't worry.
Do
I already did that.
They already did that, and they're closing school. So. But we would just have the Bly Street on there, and we'll have the conservation analysis again, just to keep that conversation moving. I don't anticipate anything else coming in before the commission. Haven't got any phone calls on anything. Like Jess said in speaking, we are still in a drought, so that drought has not been lifted from DEP, so no delineations can be counted prior to, after September. I think September 1st, whatever that date is. So until that gets lifted, I don't anticipate, and with it being winter, I don't anticipate it being very busy.
Mm-hmm.
So the delineation that Matt has for his DPW project.
That was done this summer.
Yeah. April.
And I
or
think
something.
that was in front of that 34 Bly. I think that's due to the drainage ditch. The soils just prompted it. That's what I'm thinking happened, is if it's pooling there already,
Yeah.
there's standing water, the soils are there, so that's when they flagged it. Whether it's actually a jurisdictional wetland could be fought, but that's probably why.
Makes sense.
But other than that, I don't see anything coming before the board at the moment, anytime soon. But there's enough stuff coming, because we'll have the ponds to do, town meeting before you know it. I submitted the budget for next year. We'll hear what happens with that.
Okay. Any other commissioners have some updates? Fascinating news.
So you missed the, you didn't have the 71 pond meeting?
No, we
No,
did
okay,
not.
you got canceled.
No, I got canceled.
Yeah. No reschedule?
Not yet. Not
Yeah.
yet.
It's a good reason to read your emails.
I know, I sent it to
They don't show up.
I sent an email to them saying I wasn't going to be in, but I'll attend a meeting, virtually if I can, and then I check the emails throughout the day. I'm like, oh, I don't have a meeting tonight. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
I saw Susan Todello Williams, who's on the Cultural Council,
Mm-hmm.
and she's encouraged us to apply for a grant for signage for Pine Meadow.
Yes.
She's already done.
Yeah, she's mentioned it to me before, because the amount of signage that we need there may or may not be a lot, that we have enough money in our budget. I mean, we could apply
for something, but I'd have to have a plan on something, and we're still working with, through the Nashua River, that grant that we had,
Yeah.
to get 2 new signs made. So we're working still on that process. I think the woman who's doing the design, she might have one. I think she sent it to me. So if I can, I'll reach out to her and see what we can get for a grant, because we might be able to do something to replace those head wall, the head signs.
Yeah, there's three of them.
Yeah. I know when I met with the Eagle Scout on site, I mentioned to them about maybe doing, so that might be a project that comes from them too, and I'd hate to take it away from an
Yep.
Eagle Scout at the same time. So that's when I'm like, I understand we can apply for a grant through them to replace the signage out there, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I'd hate to take a project away from an Eagle Scout.
But, back there at the end of Pine Meadow Pond, where the Boy Scout bridge is, and where we put our sign,
Yeah.
there's that big
Oh,
board.
that one needs to be fixed.
It's absolutely white.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing on it.
No, that, and I understand why that's there, because it's an intersection point,
Yeah.
but again, I don't know why it's there.
It's kind of a confusing, if you don't know, that's a very confusing area.
It is, and the remarking the trails, which just started doing, then it got hot, and then rain, whatever. So that's, I understand why it's there, but the signage that needs to go there needs to be very specific. It needs to be an actual trail sign. We need to get the trails GIS mapped out,
Yeah.
and then made into a sign, a plan, and then that onto a sign, and that's what should go there.
Right.
And I have no clue how to do that, and I can look into that and start working on it, but it's gonna be a multi-step process on that one, because that's the right signage for that spot.
Up in Maine, they have these photo signs like
Yes,
that.
yep, and that's what I'm hoping to try to get out there for the, that's,
Oh, yeah,
that's,
cool.
that's
Yeah.
that's my idea of a plan to have for the Pine Meadow, which I have spoke to, I think it's Karen, name's Kimberly, who's working on, has done the signs for the waterways, and she's working on the 2 new ones now. She has a draft of something for Pine Meadow that I was like, I want to put pictures of Pine Meadow on there too, so I can work with her to get those for that.
Okay.
And then I can reach out to Susan Trudelis about what we can do for a grant for that too.
Do we know how many, Eagle Scouts might be coming through?
I don't,
Yeah.
but it doesn't hurt to have a list of projects that we'd like to see done for when they do come.
Yeah.
That this one that I was working on the Pocket Forest, she mentioned she was looking for Eagle Scout. I go, well, I have projects if you want to do anything with conservation. So if we have it, just to keep a list of ones that, we get to it. If not, if someone comes up, we can have them do. And it's a good little project for them to have. I know the Parks Department will work on those too. And I think they usually nag a lot of them. It's like, no, send them. Conservation, we have some too.
We can just send them out in the woods and pick in bases.
There you go.
I don't think that works that way.
Yeah.
We'll have to schedule around your recovery so you can be swinging the sledgehammer,
Can't do that
because
right
I know you want to do
now. I
that.
do, I missed that.
What would cause all your issues?
That's what, I felt a tear. When you were doing that.
That feels a little weird.
I was pretty excited to hear that there's American chestnut back in.
Well, that's what I read that. I go, is he lying? Because we got that book from Bonnie, and reading through, I was like, I thought that was gone, didn't exist anymore.
No, they do. You find them. Rarely you find them.
I wonder if they're sprouting from an ancient trunk, or if they're
A nut that's been fallen from a bird from God knows
They
where.
probably come from a trunk, because I don't think they ever get to the point where they can produce a seed.
No,
as
yeah,
soon as they get there, they get the fissures in their bark, and then they get the
Yep.
blight.
Yep. Yeah, they don't get very big.
Yeah.
Because I've seen them, they're only so big, and they already have the blight on. It's like, oh, well, there goes that.
So speaking of, again, the conservation analysis, wasn't there all kinds of stuff that we had wanted to have done in the conservation analysis, like tagging all these trees, marking the locations, putting that down on a map? I didn't see any of that here.
Yes, and
I didn't want to bring it up until.
And that's why we go out, we'll look at it, and if there's things in there that we see we want to have, that need to go in there,
Danny had already sent me some of his comments, and one of his comments already is the fact that we need to have the large trees marked on that site. And they need to be marked. Because it's part of the planning board's, it's one of their plan requirements that I think they don't always follow. That they can't, over a certain diameter, it has to be marked and they're not supposed to be taken down. And me and Danny are gonna work on making that more of a requirement, that they're not removed, and if they are, that they're replaced.
With a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also interested, with the placement of the detention pond, and I think they indicated that would be the less tree impact possibly.
Mm-hmm. But it is.
To be like smack dab right in the middle just seems like, really, is that the greatest place? But then I say, well, if it is open though, does that, birds will come and kind of hang out, and like party and then, move on, but.
Yeah.
It
is smack in the middle, and it is the least tree impact, but it's also the spot where I think the most mature trees are, and that's why there's not a lot of trees, because not the little understory trees.
Right, it's on the
it's
little
the bigger ones.
Yeah.
So it's something we have to look at. That's why we look at it and give our recommendation.
Take a look.
And then planning board says yea or nay.
Yeah. Anything else?
Did you get that Flanagan Pond signed up yet or what?
Did you have to ask? No.
Okay.
You know what I
You still
did?
need a bracket or what?
I put it on the porch,
Yeah,
and I walk by it every day,
that's good.
and now I don't see it.
So that next year, that needs to be in your Christmas card, is the Flanagan Pond.
Flanagan. Okay. I haven't forgotten it completely. I'll get it.
All right.
I'll get it up.
Still the expectation to put it on the post that's there? Yeah, I think you might need a bracket of some sort. So go noodle on that and let me know if we need to make something. I got some steel. I got a welder now too, so.
You got a welder?
I do have a MIG welder.
Oh. I got a project for you.
Boys. Yeah.
So, anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay? Passes unanimously.